Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's been an honor for us to present the 27th Direct Diplomatic Forum, which is organized by RRI World Service Voice of Indonesia. Our diplomatic forum is live broadcast through youtube.com, at VOI Indonesia, and Facebook, The Voice of Indonesia, and streaming www.voinews.id. Today we are going to discuss a topic on disaster is around. Are we ready yet? Before we start our diplomatic forum today, we would like to invite Bapak Agung Susatyo, Director of RRI World Service Voice of Indonesia. The floor is yours.
Okay. Distinguished Mr. Sulaiman Yusuf, RRI's Director of Program and Production, representing RRI's President Director. His Excellency Mr. Musa Fumi Ishii, Japanese Ambassador to Indonesia, Mr. Bernardus Wisnuwijaya, Deputy Director of Prevention and Preparedness of Indonesia's National Disaster Management Authority, BNPB, Mr. Sukmandaru Prihatmoko, Chairman of Indonesia Association of Geologists, Mr. Freddy Dolu, the representative of Supervisor Boards, RRI Board Directors, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let us extend our gratitude to the God Almighty as we are gathering here in Diplomatic Forum Talk Show. This is the 27th edition of Diplomatic Forum since it has been organized. Diplomatic Forum is a talk show discussing international issues by inviting speakers from various cycles and related institutions. This is the time. The theme of Diplomatic Forum is Disaster is Around. Are we ready yet? The theme is chosen considering Indonesia is a country that often experiences disasters such as landslides, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, and tsunamis. The last is the earthquake in Central Sulawesi, measuring 7.7 on the Richter scale. Disaster in Central Sulawesi claimed more than 2,000 lives, injuring more than 4,600. When a natural disaster occurs, the community is also powerless to anticipate and overcome it. Panic and surrender often occur in every natural disaster. As a result, the number of deaths and material loss in several disaster cases in this country is still quite high. The talk show is also held to commemorate the International Day for Disaster Reduction, which falls on October 13. Finally, we would like to thank our honorable speakers and honorable guests who are coming to the talk show. Once again, thank you, and we welcome you all to the Diplomatic Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Bapak Agung Susatyo, for the warm welcome and remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's follow a remark by Bapak Sulaiman Yusuf, Director of Program and Productions, representing President Director of LPPRRI, Bapak Rohanuddin. The floor is yours.
Distinguished His Excellency Mr. Musa Fumi Ishii, Japanese Ambassador to Indonesia, Mr. Bernardus Wisnuwijaya, Deputy Chief for Prevention and Preparedness at Indonesia National Disaster from BNPB, Mr. Sukmandaru Prihatmoko, Chairman of Ikatan Ahli Geologi Indonesia, RRI Supervisory Board, Mr. Freddy Dolu, Pak Agung Susatyo, Head of Office of Indonesia, Pak Edi Sukmana, Bu Sumarina, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of RRI President Director, I would like to extend my congratulations on the organizing of the 27th Diplomatic Forum by RRI World Service Voice of Indonesia. This month, the United Nations commemorates the International Day for Disaster Reduction. This commemoration is intended to encourage all communities and government to take a role in creating communities with disaster resiliency. We know that Indonesia is a country that often experiences disasters. When a natural disaster occurs, the community seems to be powerless to anticipate and overcome it, resulting in a high number of deaths and material loss. Anticipatory efforts by the community are always late. Delays in anticipation action are caused by lack of information and knowledge about disaster option, but from the government and other authorities. In addition, disaster management issues have not been a priority in regional development, not to mention the matter of funds to overcome disaster. In this regard, RRI, World Service Voice of Indonesia, organizes diplomatic forum to show them disaster is around. Are we ready yet? Featuring prominent speakers. Finally, we would like to thank our honorable speakers and honorable guests who are coming to the talk show. Once again, thank you, and we welcome you all to the Diplomatic Forum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Thank you, Bapak Soleman Yusuf. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Diplomatic Forum will be hosted by Daulat Pane, and we'll discuss a topic on disaster is around. Are we ready yet? In this Diplomatic Forum talk show, we also invite your participation to join our dialogue by presenting your questions directly to our speakers. And for the sake of convenience, we need to ask you to set your cell phone to the silent mode. And now I will call the host of today's Diplomatic Forum, Daulat Pane.
RRI World Service Voice of Indonesia presents Diplomatic Forum, a talk show analyzing strategic issues and global perspective.
Of Indonesia. He has been assigned at Korea Broadcasting Service, KBS, for 2 times, from 2006 to 2010, and from 2016 to 2018. Well, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's start our program, Diplomatic Forum.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, today our Diplomatic Forum is going to discuss a topic on disaster around. Are we ready yet? Are we ready yet? So this Diplomatic Forum is a live broadcast on YouTube at Voice of Indonesia and also Facebook, The Voice of Indonesia. It can also be accessed through streaming www.voinews.id, and you can also join this program by sending your comments or question via our Facebook fan page, Voice of Indonesia and The Voice of Indonesia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we start this Diplomatic Forum, I would like to invite you all to see what is happening here in this video, and then from this we will discuss this topic, disaster, is around. Are we ready yet? And this is the video. Well, there was a video on several natural disasters, and we will discuss this with our distinguished speaker. I would like to come on the stage His Excellency Masafumi Ishii, Japanese Ambassador to Indonesia. Welcome, you. To get this seat on the middle. I think it's better you sit there. Okay. Thank you, Your Excellency. And next, I would like to come to the stage Pak Bernardus Wisnuwijaya from the National Disaster Management Agency. Welcome, sir. Which is it? And Pak Sukmandaru Prihatmoko, Chairman of Ikatan Ahli Geologi Indonesia or Indonesian Association of Geologists. Selamat datang, Pak. Have a seat. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I just would like to repeat what the Pak Sulaiman Yusuf said in his opening speech, that Indonesia is often experiences disaster such as landslides, floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, and also tsunamis. The last was an earthquake in central Sulawesi measuring 7.7 on the Richter scale. What a huge tremor, actually. Disaster in central Sulawesi claimed more than 2,000 lives. More than 2,000 lives. The number of injured reached 4,612 people. And there were 1,309 people who were still missing. This is our responsibility. Every time a natural disaster occurs, at the time the community is also helpless, cannot do anything. We cannot fight the Mother Earth. In anticipating it and overcoming, panic and surrender often occurs in every natural disaster, and as a result, a number of fatalities and material losses in several cases of disasters in the country is still quite high. So this is why we are here today. Ambassador Ishii and the other two speakers, we would like to discuss this. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start this diplomatic forum with the first question to Pak Bernardus. Oh no, I would like to say to Pak Prihatmoko. We talk about the geology first. Why tsunamis, earthquakes is there Yes, Pak Prihatmoko. So what we know that the earthquake in Palu Donggala, it was related to the liquefaction. So what is the condition of the land in Indonesia in general? And are the soil conditions vulnerable to disasters? Yes, please, Pak.
Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think first of all, I'd like to thank to RRI for inviting me on behalf of the Indonesian Association of Geologists to share maybe something related to the geology. So talking about the liquefaction, I think this should not be split from the earthquake itself, because the major phenomena, the major event is the earthquake. So the liquefaction is like the effect or something that's caused by the earthquake. So I think if I want to explain a little bit about the liquefaction, there should be some certain condition, geological condition, I mean, that should be triggered by earthquake to become a liquefaction phenomena. So the main thing about the geological condition related to the liquefaction is there should be an area with geological condition content of loose sands with water saturated. So whenever you have an area like that, and then there should be some condition too, especially what's the thickness of that loose sand bed, and what's the number of the amount of the water there. And whenever you got an earthquake, some happen some in that area, that should be will create the liquefaction. Because if we can explain it, because the water pressure will lose their strength. So the soil or the rock, which before is a solid condition, they will change it to the like liquid condition. So that's the I can explain the mechanism why the liquefaction happen.
Okay.
So back to the geological condition, I think we can map some part of Indonesia. Where's the part of Indonesia which has this kind of condition? We can identify, I think, whenever we have an area, flat area near the coast, or flat area near the lake, or ex-lake, because sometimes lake is becoming dry and become an area, flat area, and the rock or the soil is not or unconsolidated, and there's water, a lot of water there. So you just need an earthquake.
Yes.
Say people said about 5 scale, it will trigger or generate the liquefaction.
Okay. So can I say in short, Pak Prihatmoko, that this liquefaction will not be dangerous if there is no earthquake happening in that area?
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
I think generally say yes, because you can see in Kalimantan, I think there are a lot of geological phenomena, geological condition that's maybe like what I said before, with loose sands, loose rock with water saturated, but there's no liquefaction because there is no earthquake.
Okay, thank you, Pak Prihatmoko. So since that you say that this liquefaction is triggered by the earthquake, so is there any map or just say data that, which shows that some places in Indonesia is prone to earthquake?
Yes, I think in general term, I think the Badan Geologi or Geological Agency has already released a map, but what I saw is they only release in the specific area that they thought it should be potential or vulnerable for the liquefaction. Especially like in Palu itself, they already released a map of the potential for liquefaction back in 2012. So there are some other map too, like in Padang, in Aceh, I think they already released it. But I think we need to force to push the Badan Geologi to also do all of mapping to all of the city, especially or part of Indonesia.
Okay, so it means that we do not have yet a real data.
The whole Indonesia.
The whole Indonesia. But is there any, just say, maybe, which just maybe can help us that this area in Sumatra, like you said, that okay, there will be Padang and Aceh. What about in Java, on Kalimantan or Sulawesi, something like that?
Yeah, Jakarta itself, I think I saw the map for Jakarta because Jakarta is really big city, a lot of people there. So I think Badan Geologi already put some attention there. Surabaya, I never seen it, but I hope that we have it. But the good thing is that we, or Badan Geologi, and us also, the IAGI, Indonesian Association of Geologists, also have some map indicating where's the fault or fracture that may be generating or potential for earthquake in Indonesia. But it's already famous map that we can refer it. We can refer to it like in Sulawesi. Everybody or every geologist will know that there is a big fault called Palu Koro Fault, which is running from Palu city going down to the south, and then just turn to the east to the Lake Matano. I think that's very famous fault, and so in that way we have to really pay attention along that belt, along that trace, where is the area which is really vulnerable for liquefaction.
Okay, I still have one more question for Fred Moko. Concerning what was happening in Palu Donggala and its surroundings, did we know before, or was there any information before that the condition of the land in this area it had liquefaction, and do the people know about it? The people of Palu, Donggala, or its surrounding?
Well, like I said before, that there is a research result by Badan Geologi or Geological Agency back in 2012. They already released the map, which part of Palu city, Palu town, which really potential for liquefaction. But when we asked to the Badan Geologi, where's you released that map? They said that that's already presented, they already give it to the local government, something like that. And yeah, of course, I think that should be our main problem here, not only in Palu. I think that's some of the research results is still not really being implemented in the root level.
Okay, thank you, Praja Moko. Ambassador Ishii, as long as I know that the condition of geologically, the condition of Japan is not so much different what we have here in Indonesia. So is Japan also in the category of a country which is disaster prone?
Thank you. And in short, answer is yes, of course. But before talking more details about it, let me first express my heartfelt condolence and sympathy for what happened in Central Sulawesi. And I think Indonesian people helped us last time when we had a big earthquake, 2011. So this time is our turn to help you, whatever we can. And we want to be friends in need for you. And our self-defense force sent transportation airplane, C-130, and they helped the transportation good between Palu and Balikpapan. And 3 billion rupiah worth emergency goods have been already delivered to Palu.
Yes.
And in addition to that, we have more than 20 billion rupiah worth donation collected by the Japanese companies working here. So our help has been all Japan. And I think we are now entering into reconstruction stage.
Yes.
So the JICA has already sent survey team over there. And then they'll come back again towards the end of November with a draft blueprint for the reconstruction of the area, where I think the information about liquidation is crucial in order to decide where to relocate the new houses. By the way, based upon their initial research, tsunami may have been caused by liquidation around the coastline, which is a rare case. So I think they are working on that, the cause of tsunami. And having said all this, direct answer to your question, yes, we are a disaster-prone country. Like Indonesia, we have earthquake, we have tsunami, we have landslide, we have volcanic eruption. Even in addition to that, we even have snow disaster, snow-related disaster. And typhoon this year has been more serious than, I think, monsoon. We have had 26 typhoons this year already, and then 14 out of 26 had a direct impact on Japan. So actually, Japan is more, in a sense, dangerous and more disaster-prone than Indonesia, and actually the insurance is very expensive in Japan. But having said all this, actually in the past 20 years, over 90% of fatality comes from earthquake and tsunami, the same as it is in Indonesia. So I think earthquake and tsunami are the most difficult challenge you have to face. But having said all this, I think positive note is this means there is a room for cooperation between Japan and Indonesia. We have the same problem. We need to share the solution. We can cooperate with each other.
Yes, Ambassador Masafumi Ishii, as the same question with Prihatmoko, does Japan already mapping the areas which is prone to this natural disaster?
Yeah, we have a disaster map. We have warning system. We have sharing information system. But you know, today's main theme, are we ready yet?
Yes.
I think nobody is ready yet, because you know, natural disaster always exceeds our expectation. So what we can do is to learn from it, learn lessons from it, and be better prepared. But nobody is perfect. That's where we are.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador Ishii. Pak Bernardus, Ambassador Ishii said that we are not ready yet, and maybe nobody's ready yet. So how do you assess with on this statement, Pak Bernardus?
Okay, thank you. Before I directly answer your question, I would like, on behalf of Indonesian government, to extend our sincere thanks and also gratitude to the government of Japan for your relief assistance to us in Palu. And also, Japan has the commitment to support us in recovery program. Thank you very much. And I also want to add some information about the mapping before I directly answer your question.
Please,
we already have the map, not only hazard map, but also risk map. You can see in our application using Android, we call Inaris. And from the application, you will know about what is the threat, what is the hazard in your position right now. You can open it. I think the problem is how to communicate. How communicate the information is the big deal for us. The risk communication is always the big deal for us. Because in the normal condition, there is, I think, no one want to see the risk in surround them. We already have. Now the challenge is how to use it as a reference of spatial planning. When we try to make a plan for spatial planning, we have to consider with the threat, the hazard. We already have this one.
Okay.
But to share, to disseminate this information is, I think using this forum,
yes,
I think it's very it's good to share the information to the public.
Yes.
This is one of the, I think, how to protect our people from the hazard itself. because the most challenge is understanding risk. If we don't understand about the risk, so we have the high risk, and as a possibility to facing the disaster.
Okay.
So yes, I think preparedness is never-ending process, because if we talk about the disaster, we have to deal with the hazard. It's a natural phenomena, and then the other thing is vulnerability. Vulnerability is deal with the people, the community, the social aspect, the behavior of the people itself. So yes, we have to prepare, be prepared. So in Indonesia, I think like in Japan, we try to make people understand about the risk. We have 10 type of disaster in Indonesia with our application, from hydrometeorological and also geological, and also biological. The most disaster is hydrometeorological, is influenced by meteorological and also the geophysical.
Okay.
So I think I agree with His Excellency.
Okay, preparedness is very important. Communication is very important. Back to Ambassador Isi. So, how does the government or the related authorities to communicate all the information needed that the community have to know about disaster? Just say, for example, about tsunami, about earthquake. So, how you share the information?
Thank you. As I mentioned, we do have a disaster map.
Yes.
We have a basic action plan when disaster happens. And we have a division of labor, evacuation plan, and so on and so forth. And, there's a early warning system. It's very important, as you mentioned, and the information sharing system as well. And in addition to that, always drill and exercise is important. Not only to get used to where to go after disaster happens, but also to know the plan. You come to know the plan when you do exercise. So these are the way to let more people, as many as possible, to know what they have to do if something happens. But once something happens, it's up to them how to deal with it. So we can do a lot of things before it happens. Government can do a lot of things before it happens. But once it happens, it's up to each individual to find their way out.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador Ishii. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's the end of the first section, and later I will give you an opportunity to raise question. We got a break, and there is a beautiful singer on my right side here, Yuka Tamada. He's a mix, and managed to sit at the fourth position. Oh, good luck.
Yes.
Okay. And well, ladies and gentlemen, here is Yuka Tamada with the song Berita Kepada Kawan.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? You're fine. You're just fine. You're not great or anything, just fine. Yeah. So, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Yuka Tamada. You might think that I'm Japanese because of my name. Well, you're half right, because my dad is Japanese. So it means I'm half Japanese, but half Indonesian. So that's why last night, I'm dealing with some sort of dilemma right now, because Japan's under-19 national football team beat us 2-0. I don't know what to feel. I want to feel happy, but at the same time, because Indonesia is where I was born in, I was born in here, I speak Indonesian almost every day of my life. And they beat us 2-0. 2-0. This is our only chance to go to the World Cup. And then it's gone like that, in just a span of 90 minutes. but it's okay. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit of a, football fan. I'm a little bit shocked, a little bit sad, but I will be here to entertain you guys, yes? Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to speak Japanese, but I don't want to humiliate myself, so I'm just going to refrain myself from that, yeah. So this song is an Indonesian song by one of the legends, Ebit Gede. If you guys know this song, pasti tahu lah ya. Sing it with me, ya. Perjalanan ini terasa sangat menyedihkan. Sayang engkau tak duduk di sampingku, kawan. Banyak cerita yang mestinya kau saksikan di tanah kering bebatuan. Oh, 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 oh. Tubuhku terguncang dihempas batu jalanan. Hati tergetar menatap kering rerumputan. Perjalanan ini pun seperti jadi saksi. Gembala kecil menangis sedih. Kawan, coba dengar apa jawabnya ketika dia kutanya mengapa. Bapak ibunya telah lama mati ditelan bencana tanah ini. Sesampainya di laut ku kabarkan semuanya kepada karang, kepada ombak, kepada matahari. Tetapi semua diam, tetapi semua bisu. Tinggal aku sendiri terpaku menatap langit. Barangkali di sana ada jawabnya. Mengapa di tanahku terjadi bencana? Mungkin Tuhan mulai bosan melihat tingkah kita yang selalu salah dan bangga dengan dosa-dosa. Atau alam mulai enggan bersahabat dengan kita. Coba kita bertanya pada rumput yang bergoyang. Oh, oh. ada matahari, tetapi semua diam, tetapi semua bisu. Tinggal aku sendiri, terpaku menatap langit. Barangkali di sana ada jawabnya. Mengapa di tanahku terjadi bencana? Mungkin Tuhan mulai bosan melihat tingkah kita yang selalu salah dan bangga dengan dosa-dosa, atau alam mulai enggan bersahabat dengan kita. Coba kita bertanya pada rumput yang bergoyang.
This diplomatic forum is brought to you by RRI World Service, Voice of Indonesia.
Yes, there was a tragedy, and that was sad news. As we got another sad news this morning, a flight Lion has missing contact on 6:35 Western Indonesia Standard Time. This flight has 178 passengers on board. 178 adults, 1 child, and 2 babies. And the crews, there are 5 crews, and the PIC is Captain Bafe Suneja and Harvino. We just may pray, so it is just a dream, not a real bad news. So everybody is helped by the God, and they are in good condition. Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are coming to the second segment of this diplomatic forum. And for the first question, I will go to Pak Bernardus. Pak Bernardus, in your assessment, has Indonesia reached UN standards for disaster mitigation?
Thank you for the question. I think since 2005, we have tried to, as a best, to comply with UN standards. In this case, by complying with the Hyogo Framework for Actions, again from Japan, I think Hyogo Framework for Actions, for disaster risk reduction 2005-2015, including for disaster mitigation. After that, we also try to fulfill the requirements mandated by the subsequent UN instruments, particularly the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction 2015-2030. We try to implement all relevant UN instruments, including also the Sustainable Development Goals and Paris Agreement on Climate Change, in all over Indonesia, step by step and gradually. As you know, our country, Indonesia, is a very fast. while our budget for disaster prevention and mitigation is very limited, and it is unrealistic to implement all UN recommendations at the same time at every municipal level. It takes time, I think, and we need to support from the local governments and the private sector. For Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction, we have 7 targets that we commit to achieve. First, substantially reduce global disaster for mortality, and then reduce the number of affected people globally, and reduce the direct disaster economic losses. We have the experience, we lost 19 trillion rupiahs when Gunung Agung eruption in 2017. And then also substantially reduce disaster damage to critical infrastructure, and substantially increase the number of countries with national and local disaster risk reduction strategies. Now our effort to introduce the risk analysis and also make a disaster management plan in the local government. Now more than 200 local government already has this disaster management plan, because disaster is about management. So start from risk analysis and also make a disaster management plan. And then also enhance international cooperation. And the last one, increase the availability and access to multi-hazard early warning system. Now we developing this system in PNBB, and we work together, collaborate with PMKG and also another institution to provide the information to the people, especially for the warning. Thank you.
Okay, as you said that the disaster, handling with disaster is like management. So how do you exercise the management of handling disaster in this country from the top, the central, into the lowest level? For example, Lurah or Kepala Desa. Since during the Palu Donggala disaster, many people complain that it seems that the local government were not ready to face that.
Yeah, disaster is everybody's business, I think, at all level. So impacted all the people, not only the government, but also the local and also the community. The research in Japan is, I think, is very interesting. More than 35 people in Kobe earthquake, 35% saved because they can save their self-assistance, 35%. And 32% they save because of the family, they help by family. And then 28% is saved by the community surround them. It means that 95% they save because of the community. So we have the program not only for the government, because everybody business. It means that the actors is from government, and then private sector, and also the community. Again, that preparedness is never-ending process.
Okay.
We have the program right now, resilience village. So in the community level we have. And then also we try to educate and make a training and also exercise in the local government, in the municipal and district level, as well as in the national. We work very hard to introduce the system, the management, not only disaster management, but also for the prevention and also the emergency management and also the recovery management. Yeah, we have the training center, and we work together with the line ministries. We work with the Ministry of Home Affairs to train the what we call the government official. And also we have the one day we learn from Japan. Now we have the National Disaster Prevention Day every 26th of April. Japan 1st September. So we already done twice. First, in 2017, we make exercise and also exercise in simulation and exercise in whole country. At that time, 10.5 people involved in this exercise and simulation. And the last one in 2018, exercise and simulation involve 30.6 million people. It's very simple exercise, very simple exercise, just to observe our building is prepared enough for the facing the disaster. For example, the evacuation route sign.
Yes.
And then also for the expired of our fire extinguishers, something like this. It's very simple.
Okay, thank you,
aware.
Bernardo. So it means that there are trainings, there are educations with the local government, with the local community. And Ambassador Ishii, Pak Bernardo mentioned 2 times about cooperation with Japan. How do you assess the cooperation between Indonesia, in this case, just say BNPB with Japan, the Disaster Management Agency?
I think we have learned from each other.
Yes.
Simply because we have the same kind of natural disasters, particularly earthquake. We helped Aceh when great earthquake happened over there. We are still helping them. You know, we are helping the organization of the evacuation drill over there in some of their high schools. And we have constructed what we call tsunami pole to show the height of tsunami and the time it took to reach that place, so that every local person can see that. And then once something happens, they just run away from that. So I think, and Indonesian people, particularly from those people in Aceh, send us a message of encouragement at the time of earthquake. So I think the help is not one way. It's a learning process for both sides. And by the way, there are many commemoration dates, but there is one addition, that is 5th of November, 1 week time, there will be an International Day for Tsunami, adopted and approved by United Nations. So we will have what we call the high school student summit meeting for tsunami education in Japan, and there will be some participation from Indonesia as well.
Okay, one more question, Ambassador Ishii. So there is already good management there. So now let's talk about fund, because fund is really very important during this disaster. So how does your country provide and manage the fund?
It's always difficult, but as Pak Gunadus mentioned, disaster management is everybody's job.
Yes.
I think the key is coordination and division of labor. There is a fund coming from local government. There's a fund from central government. Local government has to be more ready to talk about the local management, relocation of housing, and so on and so forth. But once major scale disaster happens, we will come up with supplementary budget most of the time to support activities of those local communities. So it's a division of labor as well as a coordination. It's everybody's job.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador Ishii. So it seems that this is the end of the second segment. We will come later to the third segment, and still remember that I give you an opportunity to raise question before we come to the end of this third segment later.
This diplomatic forum is brought to you by RRI World Service, Voice of Indonesia.
Okay, thank you. Now to Pak Wiatmoko. It seems that there are many things have been done to just say to prevent, for the prevention, mitigation, starting from the education and providing the fund also. So from the Association of Indonesian Geologists, so what kind of suggestions do you have for the government of Indonesia to say, we cannot stop this earthquake, we cannot stop this disaster. That's why Ambassador Ishii said that we are not ready yet for this. So is there any suggestions for the government?
Yeah, well, I think IAGI is also really has a concern for that, and I think we already notified that there should be some missing link between what we have prepared, say, like from the BNPB, from the central government, because everybody know that I think some like a procedure or mitigation strategy is already built up before. But the problem is there only very limited thing that going down to the lower level, like what you say about the Kepala Desa or Camat.
Yes.
So I think there's some missing link there. Why this situation happened? So I think many times I said to the media or even to the government that we have to really have a system to build the system to increase the awareness of the people. One thing that we already propose is through education, to educational level from the elementary school, for example. So maybe we can put any mitigation education going down to the kids, to the school kids, the elementary school. So we hope that every month or every week there should be some like training or disaster drill. So there will be something they will think about it in their brain. And I think Japan is already done pretty good because everybody is already, almost everybody already aware about the disaster. While in Indonesia, I think in Jakarta, maybe people know it, but when we go down, say like in Palu, only very limited people there. So that's only one thing that we already proposing to everybody, I think.
Okay, Priyatmoko, you said that education is very important. Yes, of course, we cannot say no for that. But this is a very sad experience. Maybe some of us know that in 2004, 2006, tsunami in Aceh. 2004, tsunami in Aceh. And when you come to Aceh and ask the kids there, do you know tsunami? And they say, what is tsunami? It's kind of food? It's kind of drink? So where is the continuation of education about this?
Yeah, I think that's what I said before. That's the Indonesian situation at currently, actually. So I think it's need everybody attention to really put this issue to our brain, our thing about it.
Okay. Ambassador Ishii, Pak Priyatmoko just said that Japan is one good example for this mitigation. So how is the mitigation education in your country?
Once again, we are not perfect either. You know, I talked about I think the disaster reduction drills and exercise, tsunami pause and everything. But when we had a Tohoku earthquake in 2011, we found a 200-year-old stone monument existing there, saying that
Monuments, kind of
monument, yeah,
yes.
sort of stone monument,
Okay.
saying that tsunami reached here, so don't build houses behind here.
See.
It's like a 200-year-old. Then people still build a lot of houses under there. So we didn't learn perfect lessons from the past. And everybody in the past was trying to leave some signs, warning for the future generation. And that's what we are trying to do. As I mentioned, nobody is perfect. So I think the best thing we can do is to learn lessons from what happened and be better prepared for the next time. And for that, education, education, education. It's very, very important. I simply cannot emphasize the importance of it.
education.
And just in addition to that, human resource development for the natural disaster management is also very important. After earthquake, local government is just overcome by the impact of it. The more personnel who are educated, trained for disaster management, the better. So we are not only doing exercise, but also the capacity building for those who are used to the disaster management. That's also very, very important, I think.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador Rishi. Yes, Pak Bernardus, I have never been to Aceh, but I don't know, do we have this kind of monuments in Aceh?
Yes, I think we have the museum in Aceh as a part of the monument. I think international is also support this build this monument, and then this is for physically, but for mentally or education, we now also has learned from the past that we have the program we call a safe school.
Sorry?
Safe school.
Safe school.
Yeah,
okay.
school and madrasah in Indonesia. So we make sure the physically of the school itself is safe, and also the management, and also we train the student how to deal with the disaster in the surround them. And one of the experiences, good experience in Palu, in SMP 10, at that time some student is still there after the shock and also the tsunami, and they evacuate not to the main gate, but in the backyard, back gate, and they save because they train by this program. I think we still have the good example. It's just a matter of time, I think.
Yes.
Maybe 10 or because a mitigation program takes time. Maybe 10 or 20 years will be better, because Japan is very long experience to conduct the training, education to the people. I think like this.
Okay, thank you, Pak Bernardus. Okay, it is time for Pak Priatmo Parmoko, for the audience to raise question, and I would like you to mention your name when you have a question and your organization, please. Is there? Okay, please.
Terima kasih. My name Abrianto, a journalist from Indonesia Mandiri. I want to ask with Mr. Ambassador about the institution when the disaster or earthquake happen in your country. Who is recommend to first announce to public? This is different in Indonesia because when the disaster happen, too many explain, too many institutions. How about in your country? And also about the role of media. Is any code of ethics or of code of ethics for Japan media to explore or to expose the disaster? Secondly, for BNPB, is it possible to next the BNPB and Basarnas to merge? Because in the disaster in the past, like in the Palu, one of the leg is air supply ya. Kita kesulitan untuk bantuan udara because too many foreign aid come to Indonesia dengan bantuan pesawat udara. Kami tidak melihat atau kurang melihat pesawat helikopter ya. Barangkali untuk ke depan air supply ini bisa ditambah atau diberdayakan lebih kuat lagi sehingga BNPB dan Basarnas bisa lebih kuat.
Okay.
Terima kasih.
Thank you. There are two questions for you, Mr. Ambassador.
Before answering to your questions, I forgot to mention this. I came here today with Sulawesi batik, just to
Oh, get an applause.
sense of solidarity. Right. Answer to your two questions. First, who normally announces what happened? Who is in charge of the announcement of the disasters? If disaster happens, the center of coordination in Japan will become the cabinet office, more or less prime minister's office, where chief cabinet secretary is always a spokesperson. So he does the press conference, he announces what happened, he announces a number of casualties, and so on and so forth. I think that's how we do it. But I think the fact is that we don't have an organization like PNBP. Maybe it may be an idea for us to do it, because I think we do need some focal point as well as the operational management point when disaster happens. So in that sense, Indonesia may be better prepared as far as the institution-wise. And second question, is there any code of ethics for the press for reporting disasters? Well, there is some code of ethics, like we don't normally show on TV dead bodies. But except for that, I think it's free for the press to report whatever they can.
Okay. What about the second question? The improvement of media? For the media, which media?
Code of ethics.
How the media could expose this disaster?
How media?
Yeah.
Well, that's media's job, huh?
Yes.
They normally go there with helicopters, whatever means it takes to have the fastest possible reporting. But nowadays, as you know, like in this country, the role of social media has become very, very important. You have the on-the-spot picture, on-the-spot movies from everybody in the scene. So now we have more reporters on the scene. And the role of media is to spread it to the wider audience. I think that's how it works now.
Okay, so it is the job of the media, the role of the media, as long as you write something through, of course. Okay, Pak Bernados, you also have two questions, I think?
Yeah, I think, thank you very much for the question. I think it's very good question. PNBP and Basarnas has a different function. PNBP coordination all the resource, and Basarnas is only search and rescue. It's just a little part of the disaster management itself. I don't think that we need to merge between Basarnas and PNBP, because like in the symphony of the music, PNBP is conductor, Basarnas is one of the player. We don't need to take them part of us. Also for help, it's different part of the music. So I think in Aceh, Palu, at the time we have 10 helicopters, 6 from TNI, and then 2 from PNBP, 1 from Basarnas, and 1 from PMI. And then for the transportation, the airplane for the transportation, we lack of the resource, because TNI has only have not so many Hercules. So that's why President opened the international assistance, especially for this one. We asked the assistance for the transportation. So Japan also sent, I think, the transportation to us. Yes.
Okay.
So maybe for the next, for the preparation, we need more the transportation, not only for disaster, but also maybe from the military. So in case of disaster, we can ask for the support of for the relief effort.
Okay, thank you, Pak Bernardus. Actually, there is no need for these two bodies to merge, right, Pak Bernardus? And actually, there were 10 helicopters there. That's it. The media have to know about it there. Yes, Pak Bernardus. Yes, seems that we are coming to the end of this diplomatic forum, and I would like Pak Prihatmoko, Ambassador Ishii, and also Pak Bernardus, closing statement, please.
Well, thank you, Pak Daulat Pani. I think a short word from me. I think I just really imagine that someday the Indonesian people have more awareness to the disaster potential, or I can say maybe people always aware that we live and we sleep in the potential disaster area, so we have to be prepared. How to do it? I think that's the homework of everybody of Indonesia, like the government, like the people itself, the association, and everybody, I think.
Okay, Ambassador Ishii.
As was mentioned, disaster management is everybody's job. I think we need to put our resources together. Japan, Indonesia share the same problem. We can cooperate with each other. And I think this Central Sulawesi issue is another example of friendship and cooperation.
Okay, thank you, Ambassador. Pak Bernardus.
Yes, preparedness for dealing with disaster is a never-ending process. What we have to do is always try to aware and make better preparedness by doing exercise and simulation at all levels. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our diplomatic forum for today. Disaster is around. Are we ready yet? And Ambassador Ishii said, we are not ready yet, but we need to be ready. We need to do prevention and also mitigation. And thank you very much for my great speakers here, Ambassador Ishii, Pak Prihatmoko, and also Bernardus. And thank you for coming for this diplomatic forum. And before we end this, Yuka will sing another song. Please, Yuka.
泣きながらちぎった写真を手のひらにつなげているの悩みなき昨日の微笑みわけもなく憎らしいのよ青春の後ろ姿を人は皆忘れてしまうあの頃の私に戻ってあなたに会いたいかかる都会の空を思い出はさすらってゆくの光る風草の波間を駆け抜ける私 私が見える青春の後ろ姿を人は皆忘れてしまうあの頃の私に戻ってあなたに会いたい今よ捨ててしまえば傷つける人もないけど少しだけ滲んだアドレス扉に挟んで帰るわあの日に
And thank you very much for Daulat Fane for hosting such interesting dialogue. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our diplomatic forum, and now I would like to invite the Director of RRI World Service Voice of Indonesia, Bapak Agung Susatyo, to deliver token of appreciation to our speaker. Yeah, and we are going to have also photo session. First to His Excellency, Ambassador of Japanese Ambassador to Indonesia, His Excellency Masafumi Ishii. And the next is to Bapak Bernardus Wijaya, Deputy Chief for Prevention and Preparedness as Indonesia National Disaster Management Board, or BNPB. And the last one is to Bapak Sukman Daru, from Chairman of Indonesia Association of Geology, or Ikatan Ahli Geologi Indonesia. And that's the end of our diplomatic forum for today. Thank you for coming and participating. See you in the next diplomatic forum.
You've just listened to Diplomatic Forum, organized by RRI World Service Voice of Indonesia.